We'll kick off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is 𝗟𝗲𝗴𝘂𝗂. I'm here at the Global Chamber headquarters inside Thunderbird School of Global Management. Actually, what's behind me is the room that's down the hall. Our office is not as grand as that, although it is grand. It is pretty amazing, and we're very thankful for Thunderbird and Arizona State University, which is the owner of Thunderbird. Or certainly, there's, I guess that's the right word. I think there's a more diplomatically appropriate word than owner, but certainly Thunderbird is within Arizona State University, which is the largest university in the United States. It also has 39,000 engineering students, in addition to the over 100,000 other students. It's regularly the #1 innovation school in the world, which is kind of hard to believe. And I think this is a great message for all of us involved with whatever we're doing, our own businesses and other things, that anything is possible. Arizona State University was known as the party school, the #1 party school in the world. I did not know this, but there's some sort of a pornographic hub thing that started at Arizona State University, building off that party school image 30, 40 years ago. So how in the world could we imagine such a not a good reputation transformed over decades to become the #1 innovative school probably in the world? It's unbelievable. And the longest tenured U.S. president of a university is Dr. Michael Crow, who I've met several times. I've had the honor of introducing him a couple times. He's got a little bit of a prickly personality, but that's because he's a genius. He's totally amazingly brilliant and has transformed not only Arizona State University, but that set up the next steps, which was attracting TSMC, the huge semiconductor giant, #1 in the world, from Taiwan to settle and invest in Phoenix. Mayor Gallego from Phoenix was a key aspect of that. But all of this working together created from nothing to something. So everything is possible. Be global and unstoppable, because we cannot be stopped. No amount of politics and noise in the news is going to stop us. Nothing stops global trade. As Kofi Annan said, arguing with globalization is like arguing against the laws of gravity. We cannot be stopped. 𝗟𝗏 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀 cannot be stopped either. I was at that reception last night on the rooftop with these Japanese companies, so I apologize. I was not able to come to the League of Opportunities Part 1. 𝗟𝗏, how did it go?
Hi, Doug, and hi, everyone. So the first part went pretty well. We started with Aileen Quintana, who's our executive director in Chile, and she provided a little bit of a summary of what opportunities are out there, like pharma, medtech, agricultural, and how her own company can support businesses there in the region. And then we got Elizabeth Gling, who's with us today again. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm talking about how manufacturing companies can grow their business by exporting, and she gave a couple good examples there. Then we had Sebastián Dero, who's an expert in commercial real estate in Mexico, specifically warehouses. He was explaining. We got a little bit into the what's happening now in politics and how it's affecting with Mexico and the U.S. and the whole region. But in general, it seems that things in Mexico are moving great despite what's happening. And so warehouses is something that he can help. If anyone is interested, I can put you in touch with. And then we got a member, Hammonberg from Sheldon Media in Texas, who has a video platform for companies to monetize, and it's decentralized and it can work across industries. So anyone interested in innovation, video for marketing purposes, he's a great guy. And I think that's we got a couple of members interacting. With Monica Vaz, that's here today. She also interacted with us, and Jeff Olson in San Francisco, and a few others. Francis Oda as well. Hi, Francis. So yeah, no, it was a really good call though. Thank you.
Okay, so 𝗟𝗲𝗄𝘂 was not there?
No, he was planning to speak from the airport, but he was still on the plane by the time of the meeting. So probably next month.
Global and unstoppable. However, planes come first. They just don't let you use the phone. So 𝗟𝗲𝗄𝘂 is someone who, his company is called Matrix Minds. He's been a member now for a couple years out of Sacramento in New York, and is a CFO firm, one of those fractional CFO firms. I had the great fortune to have ramen with him recently in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, and just really so impressed with the work that they're doing. So check out 𝗟𝗲𝗄𝘂. In the meantime, let's now switch into our program. We have about 40 minutes, 45 minutes of programming, and we have about 7 speakers. And so 6 or 7 speakers. So we have 6 or 7 minutes then for each person. So I know probably most of you are told, 10 minutes, 5 minutes of presentation, 5 minutes of Q&A. Let's shorten that to no more than 4 minutes. And let's see if we can slip in a question and have some dialogue after your conversation. Don't feel like you have to fill up the whole time with content. The main thing is, who are you looking to meet? What kind of offering and problem are you solving? And we'd love to learn more so that we can make some introductions for you, so that we can help you be more successful. Our first speaker is Maureen Brennan. I don't think I know Maureen, but I certainly know CreditSafe. For many, many, many years, they were an original member of Global Chamber and have been a member for all of our 10 years. And that was because of the beginning. Leighton Weston came to Arizona to set up the U.S. Operations for CreditSafe. Out of Wales is where they're headquartered. And when they came to the U.S., they had a significant presence in Tempe. We got to know them. Amazed at the work that they're doing in terms on the credit side of things and data and management for companies so they can be more successful. Their U.S. headquarters, I believe, is now in Allentown. They have had people here in Arizona, and including Dutch, who we loved dearly. He unfortunately passed away. But everybody else at CreditSafe that we've been working with is still there, still providing value for their clients. And Maureen, we look forward to learning more. Thank you for joining us today. What would you like to share?
Okay, I had to unmute. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Where are you zooming in from?
Oh gosh, I'm in Buffalo, New York. I had to come here for a wake. So I'm normally from Houston, Texas, where it's nice and warm, but now I'm here in Buffalo. If you look behind me, there's probably about 2.5 feet of snow out there.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's yeah, I'm from upstate New York. I get it. So sorry about that for you. Sorry about the wake as well.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. I've been just to give you a little background about me, I've been in the credit industry for over 40 some years. I was the former president of the NACM in New York, and now I work for CreditSafe. I saw the writing on the wall with CreditSafe that they are a worldwide provider, can cover everything in the world, and they can beat out the #1 competition. So I thought, wow, why not see if we can't work for CreditSafe? So I've been with them for going on 13 years now, as long as they've been in the USA.
Wow.
Some of the, you talk about our credit, we offer the credit reports all over the world and everything. A new thing that we've brought on in the last maybe 1.5 years is our compliance data. We have a one-touch compliance data that you would be able to go in, check any company for any sanctions, anything, money laundering, anything like that, and also be able to check all the people. It'll also give you the opportunity to monitor it. So then if there are any changes with any of your current customers, you'll be notified right away. And then everything else that it does too, it saves it all for you. So if you're ever audited, it's all you do is you go into the website, you pull the information, you hand it to your auditors, and you are good to go. So it's not a lot of digging, anything like that. So it's just a one touch go with the, you know, the compliance data. So, I mean, if anybody is interested, it's all you can do is send me some information, or you guys can, Doug, you can push them to, you know, over to me, and we can show you what the compliance data looks like. We can help you out. We can try a couple of customers for you and, you know, let you know. And also too, we have all the business credit reports. If you'd like a few credit reports to pull for me to pull for you and give you a sample, feel free. I'll pull them for you, give you a sample of our data, and you can compare it to what you currently use.
Brilliant. Please put your information in the chat area. What regions does CreditSafe serve around the world?
We have credit information from all over the world. We actually have we've opened up our international data to cover all of South America now. There's only a few areas that we don't cover. And then in those areas, if you need credit information, we'll develop a report for you.
Fantastic. I think we have time for a question. So if anybody would like to unmute and ask a question, please go ahead. Also, during today's program, if you have a question, and we do have a moment of time, what Maureen did is brilliant. She was very quick and succinct, and it allows us to have questions. So raise your hand, and I should be able to see it on my side. Let's see. Let me get the participants over here. So I don't see any hands raised. So where do you feel like CreditSafe has the best information?
Well, CreditSafe has the best information all through Europe and all through the USA and Canada. We're really good in, we partner with the #1 companies in China and Singapore and all out in that area, Thailand, those areas. We're very strong over there also.
Fantastic.
We're a little on the weaker side in South America, but I think all the data out of South America is a little weak because there really isn't anybody that just has captured that area to make it that good.
Do you have a success story that you use, and when you're talking to people about how people have used CreditSafe to better their business?
Well, I was doing customer retention, and I was working with one of the larger liquor wholesalers that sell out throughout the world. And they were able to streamline everything into CreditSafe, monitor all their customers all over the world, and not have to go to 50 billion different data providers for every country. They did everything through one provider, and we were able to download all the information through an API directly into their system. Because we work with Salesforce and all the API companies where we can do a direct feed, and you can pick the data you want, including compliance, and have it feed directly into your system.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing today. CreditSafe is an extraordinary company. You should be aware of what they do at the minimum, and probably using the information as well. So Maureen, sorry about Buffalo and the wake. Thank you for Thank you for enduring all of what you're going through right now and sharing with us today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Let's now go to Miguel Puga. Miguel is with a company called International Business Facilitators and Development. And Miguel, where are you zooming in from today, and what would you like to share?
Good day, Doug. Can you see me? Can you hear me well?
Your background looks much more appealing than Buffalo, New York.
Well, it's probably in that exact same spot. It's probably not looking like that right now. But anyway.
Actually, upstate New York, you're right. Upstate New York can look like that, but not this time of year.
Yeah. That picture is actually in Pembroke, near Ottawa in Canada.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's looks like Buffalo right now for sure. Miguel, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being a member of Global Chamber and a supporter. All of our speakers today are members of Global Chamber, of course. There are some, maybe some non-members here in the audience. Miguel, what would you like to share?
Let's share my screen here. Let's get this thing going.
Oh, look at that.
Can you see the slide there?
We can. Comprehensive competitiveness and internationalization services.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for listening to me. I've been involved in international business development and international business in general for more than 25 years. I have an international business major, and I think I'm lucky because about 40% of people end up doing actually what they studied in university, and I'm one of those. Lucky enough to work on what I graduated on. And very interesting what you said. Nothing stops global trade. You know, the principle behind global trade as the companies must trade goods and services because every country is going to be better at doing stuff better than other countries because of natural resources, logistics, geographic location, human resources capabilities, and so on. So that's the logic behind international business. Right now, well, as you know, has been very disruptive because of Donald Trump and all the tariffs that he wants to put in place. We still need to see how that's gonna work. He's going towards more protective economy. That has been done in the past, and the experiences it does not work. But we'll see what he comes up to. But this brings, of course, a bunch of challenges and opportunities that we need to address in the international business community. So talking about trends is, you know, the U.S. is the largest economy in the world. It's very important what Trump is doing because, of course, a lot of countries want to sell into the U.S. And because of this tariff, it's going to become more difficult to do it. So that creates, of course, challenges and opportunities. And that's also where we come in. So, but I want to talk a little bit about our client services, company resources. I'm going to give you my contact info and some other valuable information. Our clients are usually companies, organizations that offer a highly competitive product or service, that are aware of the importance of developing international business in the organization. Sometimes you don't do international business because you're going to make more money selling abroad, but because you're going to diversify your risk by selling to other markets. And of course, you must have a long-term vision. This doesn't happen overnight. Very important. Our clients also know the value of working with companies that can add value to their operations by increasing their profitability and probability of success. And also they may not have the experience, language skills, infrastructure, or time to properly manage an international business project. We have done a lot of work for export promotion organizations. We also work with associate consulting firms. We have helped private business directly. Some examples here of some clients that we have worked with in the past and currently. Usually when we start a project, 90% of the times we start with what we call a generation of business opportunities, which is, as the name suggests, to actually find and generate real business opportunities for our clients. And the process is very simple. In phase one, we usually map the market, meaning we find the main players, target customers for our clients, importers, distributors, retailers, agents, you name it. Once we have mapped the market, we know who they are, have an idea on where they are and so on. We start filtering those with our client, defining priorities, which ones are the ones they like the most, which ones they think they are not suitable. We discard those and so on. So we end up with a list of potential prospects that they have approved, and then we start contacting them getting their information, reaching out through LinkedIn, email, personal network, and so on, and present the information and the offer of our clients so we can get their feedback, which can be positive or can be negative. And that's the second phase. And on the third phase, with those that showed interest, the ones who provided positive feedback, we set up meetings, virtual meetings or live meetings if needed, to start the conversation, get the ball rolling, and start talking about potential first trial order. After we're done with this, we can go into phase 4, which is consolidation. But after the 3 first phases, we present a report, and at that point, we know what the opportunities are for our client in that given market. So before doing this, you're actually just making assumptions. You don't exactly know how the market is gonna work for you or where the opportunities are. When we do this, we actually get direct feedback from the main players, and so that we know what's gonna happen. And that can help us to plan, to make an internationalization plan for that specific market in the short, medium, and long term. And that we go into phase 4, where we can actually work with the company to do a longer term plan in the market, help with things like cost reduction and process optimization. We can work on lean strategy, lean marketing. We can help with representation or an export management. We can become like their export managers for a given country or their representatives. We are monitoring business opportunities. At that point, we can also repeat the same process in another market. And we have all other services that we can provide as well, all related to internationalization. So I mentioned competitiveness and cost reductions. I got involved in this. This is more like an engineering subject, but I got involved in this after just failing into different projects because suppliers wouldn't comply with potential prospects or buyers' requirements. And they usually companies cannot comply or are not up to the challenge because their processes are full of waste and non-value adding activities. I've seen that firsthand many, many times. So that's why I went into this and became a partner of Lean Six Sigma Institute, where we help companies reduce costs, because usually traditional thinking is you wanted to make more money, you had to actually increase your price. Nowadays, of course, you all know that you cannot increase your price, because if you do that, your client is gonna go with the competition. So the market is nowadays what defines the price of your goods and services, not yourself. In very, very seldom cases you can do that, but it's not very common. So
Miguel,
yes.
Could you wrap up? We're a little bit over time, and should certainly let us know how to get a hold of you and make any final comments, please.
Oh, is that short? That's short.
Yep, you're at 8 minutes, and we were targeting 60.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna share this presentation in any case. So basically, the key to increasing profits is reducing costs, not increasing price. Okay. We do that through just identifying value adding and not value adding, and reducing the activities that do not add value. And a lot of people say, well, I don't really have waste or non-value adding activities in my processes, but in general, in producing manufacturing operations, 95% of the activities do not add value, and in services, it's about half. So those areas of opportunities. These are examples of tools that we use for lean strategy, tools that we use for lean marketing. We also have a lot of experience in alcoholic beverages in Canada and also in the US. A little overview about our company. Resources, contact information, LinkedIn profile. There's a link there for an internationalization assessment. If you want to go complete that link, answer all the questions, enter your email at the end. I can give you an assessment, no cost. We can actually set up a meeting and chat about your challenges, what you need to do to start an internationalization project, how ready you are, and what you can do to be ready if you are not, and so on. That is, I can do that at no cost for Global Chamber members. And I guess that's it.
An essential, absolutely essential service. Thank you so much, Miguel, for sharing today. Let's going to continue to move around the room. Please put your information in the chat area so that everybody has it in addition to your slides. LaTanya Kurney of Alamo Colleges, thank you so much for being our next speaker. Are you available to speak? And what would you like to share so that we can be a little bit smarter, a little bit better, and a little more impactful?
Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Thank you. My name is LaTanya Kurney. I am with the Alamo Colleges District in San Antonio, Texas. We are a district of 5 community colleges here in San Antonio, and we're the #1 provider of workforce training in the region. So a little bit about me. This is my 20th year actually in international education.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of sneaks up on you. Um, and so I've been doing this for a little while. Started off as an administrative assistant, and now what I do is oversee strategic partnerships in terms of vetting individual institutions from our foreign university partners that might be interested in working with any of the 5 colleges as far as academic exchanges, what we call international training and development, which is more of a kind of CE continuing education programs, usually for short-term purposes for students and faculty, whether it's language enrichment or we actually have some students here that are leaving today. They've been here for a week and they did some training on emotional intelligence. So it's a little bit of different types of training. We have over 350 programs that we can offer training in. So it's customizable. As far as being with Alamo Colleges, I've been here 13 years. And I am in the process in terms of my education of finishing my doctorate. I'm knocking on all the wood that I see. I'm in the data collection and coding phase, so hoping to be able to get that done, determining to get that done this year and graduate. So that's a little bit about me, but I think probably what I want to put out there for Alamo Colleges District is that we've been members of the Global Chamber for a little while, and we are most interested in being able to connect with our local chamber on a lot of different aspects. I was going through the calendar of reoccurring events and saw that there was monthly meetup about collaborations in Africa. And just in November, during International Education Week, we began a kind of a new phase of our internationalization in terms of how do we reach out to what I'm going to call the glocals, when the global meets the local, right? And the diasporas, starting with the African diasporas here, and how do we connect with the different diasporas to create a more cohesive and complete experience, not necessarily for the Office of International Programs, but for the students that our 5 colleges serve. So I'm very interested in being able to connect in that area and see how we can grow our collaboration, be more intentional about our interactions, and just be a more active member on that front. What else would I like for you to know? Alamo Colleges District, of course, being community colleges, we have a number of degree programs offering 2-year degrees in addition to licensures and certificates. But through our Alamo U, we now also offer a few degrees in 4-year programs, and those are related to high wage, high demand jobs. So in San Antonio, that would be cybersecurity, cloud computing, nursing, and those areas. And so my office, which is the Office of International Programs, isn't at one of the 5 colleges. We're actually at the Access Office, formerly known as District or District Support Operations, where everyone here facilitates the activities to assist the colleges in the work that they do. And that's where I'm located. And we are led by our Chief Program Officer for Engagement and International Relations, Alejandro Bueno. So that's just a little bit about us and me, and open to questions. And I'm very glad to have received this invitation. So thank you so much.
Brilliant. Is it degree programs and executive education, and can people take either of those remotely?
Yes and yes. We have a number of degree programs, for instance, our business programs at our San Antonio College. Those are all possible to take online, and the same with different executive programs through our, it used to be called corporate college, but now it's business and industry solutions. So we have that opportunity for individuals that are seeking to upskill, as well as corporations that are wanting to have some customized training for a specific skill set. And they can work with us to be able to design that training and then funnel through specific employees, again, to upskill or reskill.
Fantastic. I don't see any hands raised, but I do want to point out a couple people. You're based in San Antonio, I think, right?
Yes, we're not so warm and sunny, but we're here.
Okay, but it's a lot warmer than Canada and Buffalo for sure.
Perhaps, yeah.
There were 4 events yesterday at Global Chamber. There's 4 today. One of them is the Global Chamber Texas meetup. That's a monthly conversation. So while we're speaking with you, I wonder if I could just get a couple other folks from Texas that are here on the call. One of them is a new member of Global Chamber, Robert Quinn. He spoke at the Semiconductor Summit, and he is a semiconductor industry expert. Robert, could you just, sorry to surprise you, I don't know whether you can speak or not, but could you just say hi to everybody, and we'll get back to LaTanya in a moment, and I'd like to introduce Valerie as well. Robert, are you there? It was great to meet you.
Sure, Grant. It was great to meet you too. Finally got back home at about midnight last night, so it was a good trip home though. But yeah, it's definitely good to meet you, and great to know my local Texas folks. Whereabouts is the yeah? If you could chime us in more on the Texas event, that'd be great to learn more about that, Doug.
Okay. We do have that. If somebody could put that, maybe Jem, could you put that event that's coming up? I think it's just in the next hour, and it is a virtual event. So, okay. So we should be good. I was just trying to get a picture of you in. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see. I can't. That's not the one. Let me see if I can do this. This one here. There we go. There's Robert in that same room at the event with Dr. Gupta, I think.
Yes. Who
has reached out, and he wants to spend some time and work with Global Chamber. So thank you for that introduction as well. So
absolutely.
If any of you are interested in the semiconductor industry, definitely follow Robert on LinkedIn. He's got all sorts of really great information that he's sharing, I think almost every day, right? There's a lot of information coming out.
About 3 to 4 times a day. Yeah, I'm talking about semiconductor industry, where things are going with the industry, who's doing what. It's a lot to keep up with, but definitely love to connect with you there and share that information about who's doing what in the world of semiconductor.
Amazing. We all should know the semiconductor industry, no matter what you're doing. We all need to be implementing AI. We all need to be understanding the dynamics of the semiconductor industry and and the impact that's having on the world and will have on the world for decades to come. So the geopolitics will be driven by that. Our lives will be driven by that. There's maybe never been a business that's been as significant as semiconductors going forward. One of the amazing things, and this came up last night with all these Japanese companies coming to Phoenix, Phoenix 10 years ago when I started Global Chamber was not at all global. It felt very not global. But strategically, and this goes back to how we started this meeting, strategy matters. And so what happened was a group of people said, you know what, the Phoenix area is good with electronics. We have some semiconductor background. Let's really go after semiconductor companies and really become expert in that area. So that happened about 10 years or so ago. It was after the big recession, or Phoenix and Las Vegas. Those of you who are Americans may remember that Phoenix and Las Vegas were devastated more than any other place in the U.S. because they didn't have an industry to support during a deep recession, depression. And so out of something really bad came a good strategy, a great strategy that now has Phoenix being very global. So Robert, thank you for your expertise in the industry, and thank you for sharing a little bit today. I don't know whether you go to South by Southwest, but Valerie Hernandez, who's part of our team as a global advisor there in Austin, and Valerie is also back and forth with Southern California. So I don't know how you're splitting your time between the two. Maybe you're mostly here in Southern California, but you're supporting our chapters in Texas. You have a special opportunity at South by Southwest, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. So I have shared with Cesar, you, as well as Christopher, who is the head of the San Antonio and Austin Metro, about opportunities in South by Southwest. I do have here founder and CEO of the Whisper Company. We do have a booth at South by Southwest that he could talk a little bit about in the Capital Factor building, where we did have Christopher and some of our members from Global Chambers speak last year in November. So if I can give the stage to Alejandro for a quick second, for a couple of minutes, and then we can talk about South by Southwest. That'd be great.
Awesome.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'll make sure to keep it short. You don't want to overrun my time, but I'm Alejandro Fernandez. I'm co-founder, CEO of the Whisper Company. We are a cybersecurity startup that's based out of Austin, Texas. We are commercializing SDKs, really lightweight technologies that can be implemented into any system, any device. Right now, we're mobile-centric, mobile-first, and we're in the process of working to desktop. But to put it short and sweet so that people can understand, we have essentially just two core technologies. One of them has to do with the encryption side, so the backend. So essentially, any data that you have that's in the cloud, in servers, we have a patented encryption that is chaotic and random, and basically cannot be broken by quantum computing. And something that people don't know about is how quantum computing experts say that what we call AES 256, or military-grade encryption, is going to be broken in the next 2 to 5 years by quantum computing. So we already need to be looking for quantum-resistant encryption. CTO and co-founder Benito is actually a 27-year retired professor from UT. So he developed this quantum-resistant encryption, brought me along because we had worked previously in another startup, and we ended up coming up with one other core technology that has to do with the front-end side, the authentication side. And we call that technology persistent user authentication. And this one's a little easier to explain to everyone. Everyone's logged in before, used passwords, not secure, and people forget their passwords. So then the next logical step was multi-factor authentication, where you get the 6-digit code. But who's getting that 6-digit code that's in front of the device? We assume it's the right person. We came up with the idea to basically say, hey, you have biometrics to get into your devices, right? Why, when you get that instant where you put your biometric, your thumbprint, or your face, I know it's you. Why is it only for that brief second? Why not carry on that biometric process persistently? So we basically developed a technology that's called persistent user authentication, which basically, as long as your session is, as long as you're in front of the device, it's continuously checking your biometrics. And essentially, the instant you're not in front of your device, you can log out, obfuscate the screen, etc. And the instant you come back, instead of having to get automatic logout, and there's a bunch of friction with multi-factor authentication, automatic logout, the instant you're back in. And as a demonstrator, we actually created a iOS mobile app that is free to download. I think Valerie can share information on the application, and we call it Invisible Ink. And why do we call it Invisible Ink? And I'll show you. I don't know if you guys can see it because of the blur. But essentially, if I'm looking at my screen, my phone, I can see this image, but then when I turn it around, it's going to disappear. So the idea is basically the instant that I'm not there, no one can see what I was looking at. But then when I put it back in front of my face, I can see it again.
Amazing.
So we're going to take that to desktop. We're going to take that to different devices. Right now, we have SDKs, again, software development kits that developers can implement. And as Valerie mentioned, we're also a Capital Factory portfolio company. So on March 7th, they have the Capital Factory House startup crawl. So we're going to be there. So if anyone's there, they're more than free to visit. And then, as I mentioned, Valerie can share the application. Again, we wanted to create it for free. So if anyone wanted what we call like for your eyes only privacy and security, they can be able to, they're able to share sensitive or PII or business information on this application.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Please share that information. Also, the South by Southwest opportunity. Thank you very much, Valerie. I'd like to get back to LaTanya. Sorry, I need to circle totally away from you, LaTanya. I saw a message from you. Would you like to make any final comments?
No, actually, I'm enjoying the conversation.
Good.
Very, again, interested in collaborating with you all on the education side. Just listening to the presentation by Alejandro and Valerie. Alamo Colleges District spent 2 years now doing international education, had a kind of a roundtable, international roundtable, Spain, Mexico, the US, Colombia, and I think Canada, two more country representatives from higher education institutions participated in the roundtable. And we talked about AI at that time and what it looked like specifically for higher education in the classroom and different applications. We wanted to be able to kind of have like a follow-up roundtable last year. We weren't able to do that. But I am very much interested in revisiting that potentially again, and I'll pose that to the planners for International Education Week this year, revisiting that conversation and how it has expanded over the 2 years. So I would be very, very interested in knowing if that would be something you'd be interested in terms of participating on a panel or a roundtable to discuss the overall implications of what that looks like here in the US and internationally. So again, just open to collaborating more and being a more engaged member. So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, LaTanya. And we'll make sure that you're connected there. Let's next go, and there's a variety of people I'd love to hear from, and I think we're going to have some time to circle back. In the meantime, if you only have a first name, in the chat area, please put your full name. I think I know which Crystal that is, and I think I know which Jim that is. I'm not completely sure, but it would be good for all of us to know. The rest of you, I think, are all set. I also saw, Stuart, your comment. That seems like that conversation was right up your alley, so we'll make sure that you get connected. So let's next go to it's a new person for me, Danielle. I'm not sure we've met, but we certainly know Cultural Vistas, and you have a group of interns, I think, from Korea West that are coming up. Would you like to share?
I would love to share. Thanks, Doug. Gonna
Nice.
share my screen really quick.
The Korea West program is something we've believed in for, I think, 7 or 8 years. We've almost always had an intern, even in our previous office. And now Eugene Sohn is in that program. She, at noon Arizona time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, is leading the first segment of the Export League for this year, our first city. She's a Korea West intern. She is she came to us interested in exporting. So she's doing 3 different programs, one of which is leading every month, launching a new export league in some part of the world. The first one is Phoenix. It starts today, and if you'd like to be part of that, you can join the training program at 11 a.m. Pacific time, noon Arizona time. And then the next will likely be India, and then we have a series of other cities that will be kicking off export league to help exporters be more successful and connect. And Eugene is out of that program. A great example of how it works. There's no no cost to the company unless you want to donate money and give money to the intern in addition to what they're doing. We love the program. Tell us a little bit more.
Thanks, Doug. With an intro like that, I think I could actually have you work for me and present on the program. That's fantastic. We're so grateful for the connections that the Chamber has provided, and even Arizona State University, they've hosted interns in the past. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I'm an educator, 15 years of experience across nonprofits and higher ed. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. What to know about us at Cultural Vistas? We really are a bridge. We've been around for the last 62 years, and we connect employers like yourselves to short-term talent through internships and fellowships for international and domestic students. Today, I'm going to talk about the CareerOS program that Doug had mentioned, and really make an ask for connecting us. Maybe you're an employer in STEM, because here's the thing. Today, our workforce is more remote, more hybrid, and to really serve our J1 students, a couple things have to happen for them to be compliant. First, they have to have a hybrid experience that is at least 3 days in person. Now, not everyone can accommodate that. And when we talk about STEM more generally, we know that there are a lot of restrictions around what international students can and cannot do, especially when we talk about STEM, cybersecurity, computer science. Different companies have restrictions. So if you know someone in any of these fields that may like to host an intern, I would love to connect with you, connect with them. And I'm going to pivot to the next slide here. I want to be mindful of time and just give a quick rundown of what hosts should know. 6 to 8 months, it really maximizes impact in a way that traditional 3-month internships don't. Our next term starts this spring. Late March, early April, can end in September, November, depending on how long you'd like to host. And it has to be a minimum of 32 hours per week. And there is no cost to host. The Korean government gives students a stipend. That being said, if you want to give the students a little more, we never say no to that. So I want to stop there. Again, trying to be mindful of time and ask if anyone has any questions. And I'll be sure to drop this PowerPoint and my contact information in the chat.
Fantastic. Any questions? Please unmute yourself and go ahead. We do have another minute or so, or raise your hand. Again, I can't say enough about it. And being, hey, Paul, I think Paul has a question. Go ahead, Paul.
I had a question that I think just got answered by this slide, and I just had a question on the scope of services, or the scope of abilities that you could access. I know the focus is on STEM. Would you also place people in that are more focused on marketing and business development types of situations?
So absolutely, we do have students with backgrounds in marketing, business development, global business. I will say that most of those students have been scooped up because there's a lot of interest, as you can imagine. But Paul, if you're interested, we have another cohort starting in November. So maybe you and I can connect for that next term if you're interested in hosting a business student.
Sure, that'd be great.
Paul is from Canada. We started this meeting with lots of snow in Buffalo and talking about Canada. He's based now in Arizona, and one of his inventions and a business that he created is a product called Solar Breeze, which is that pool cleaner driven by solar energy, and then it kind of cleans your pool, which when you live in Arizona and you have a mesquite tree like we did, 2 of them, that is an essential piece of your life, to have the sunshine come down and clean off those little teeny mesquite tree leaves. Thank you, Paul, for the success there. And now, Paul, what are you doing? Because you're now more on the consulting side.
Yeah, so we were fortunate enough to be able to sell that business last summer to one of the major pool product manufacturers, and I'm ramping up, or have been ramping up, again, GapView Business Support Systems, GapView Enterprise Suite. Do I have a minute? I would like to share something, if you don't mind.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Okay, so let's make it quick here. So the work we do is built around this business model, which assumes that all companies have 4 core processes: product, service development, order, procurement, order fulfillment, customer service. Those are supported by, other systems like engineering and procurement, finance, technology, research and development. Those in turn are run by the people that you put in the system. So this represents your operating system of your business. You have to have people, of course, that run your operating system. And then that's all driven by the why of your business, which is your brand, purpose, mission, vision, which is surrounded by, of course, the values. So I can do a long presentation on this, but we have developed some assessment tools around all of these core components of your business that help you identify key gaps that might exist in your business. And then we've got a variety of methodologies that we use to help business owners and business managers work through those gaps.
Brilliant. Thank you for
How
sharing.
did I do? Did I fit in the time?
Yeah, you're good. While I've got you, let's shift over to another Arizona-based person, Lida Cubillos. She's been running elder care homes. I think she's had 5 of them. And I'm not sure, Lida, you've been a member of Global Chamber over the years, but you and I have spoken on and off for probably 15 years. And she recently joined because she's been able to now turn those businesses over to her daughter, which is kind of her key strategy of, let me build some businesses so the legacy can be turned over to my family. And now you're working on something else. Sorry to surprise you. I know you weren't scheduled, but could you just say hi to everybody and let us know what you're up to these days? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity and the nice intro. Yes, I am working something really new. I have my business coach for 8 years and also personal coach. And because of that, I learned the value about coaching. And because of his coaching, I was able to finally leave the business, grow the business wherever I wanted to be, and then start my new life. But I always told him, when I'm out of my business, I will help you bring this program all over, because I believe in the program. I believe the services and how we can develop our business and our life. So I'm working now in the intentional coaching. I put the website and the chat earlier. And yes, so we have coaches in Arizona, in Texas. And my job is go international. That's always been my passion. That was my degree is international business. So I'm going international. We have signed up people in Italy and Switzerland. We have the program translated in Spanish in Colombia. And that's my job, going around the world, improving and growing this intentional coaching. So this coaching is not your typical coaching. It's called intentional coaching. So the first thing that the person will learn is how to be intentional. What exactly intentional means. So they take the course, they become licensed coach, and then after that, they can decide if they want to go corporate level or work with women or children, teenagers. But the concept is intentional coaching, what exactly that means. And we give you the tools and get licensed to become a coach. Yeah, that's it.
Lida is a superstar. And so, Cesar, I would say, if we haven't already done it, I know it was in my head to do, is introduce her to Professor Ancis because of the Italy connection, and probably Mark. Mark Cohen's in the call. Mark, could you take 30 seconds and just say hi? What's the latest and greatest for you changing the world? Are you there? And you may not be able to speak, so that's cool. But if you can, just unmute yourself. I'd like to turn it over to Cesar because we only have about 3 minutes left. We'd like to try to keep to the time. And Cesar, I probably skipped somebody or I made some mistake. Do you mind correcting something that I might have blown?
No, Doug, I just would like to call Elizabeth Glenn. Elizabeth, if you have just a minute to summarize what you presented today, yesterday, that would be great. As we were just discussing between yesterday and today, and you joined both calls, that would be great for people today to know you better.
Elizabeth is amazing. Let me just give my 30-second testimonial. She's on our Global Chamber Los Angeles Advisory Board, and she epitomizes to me the passion of people who understand the value of global business. So she preaches to manufacturers, and more than preach, she helps them get to foreign markets. And she's talking about this. I've known her for 10 plus years, and she's an amazing resource for companies in Southern California and around the world. Elizabeth, thanks for what you do.
Thank you so much, Doug. Yes. In a nutshell, I help companies to streamline their internal export process so they can maximize these sales opportunities. And given the concern about all the tariffs and whatnot, there's still opportunity. It's just important for our companies to gain a competitive advantage. And I will share with you, I've worked with a two-owner company that nearly tripled their business in 2 years to a $4 billion defense unit. It has nothing to do with how big and how much money you have. It's how you play the game. And a lot of our companies have the opportunity to really grow, but they need to understand how to do the business properly. Thank you. Thanks, Doug. And Cesar. And everyone.
Well, thank you. Anything else, Cesar?
I think I just wanted to mention, Doug, you talk about the Texas meetup, and I know Jen put a note here in the chat. It was canceled by Christopher due to some issues he had today and the winter storm happening. So we're gonna continue that one in March. I think it's the same day, March 21. So for anyone interested, Jen put the link there, and you can register for it. And I think that's all for me. I'm losing my voice since last night, so I better keep it up for the weekend.
Cesar, I just wanted to share, this would be interest to LaTanya in particular, but those companies that are interested in doing business with Africa from the U.S., there is a national conference that is done on an annual basis that is a good place to connect with some of these foreign delegations from Africa.
Yeah, I saw something also from Uzbekistan that you were part of this week, Elizabeth.
Yes, huge opportunities for tourism, water, sanitation, all sorts of opportunities there. And it's not there's not a lot of competition right now, so that's an opportunity to get into that part of the world.
Yeah, we reach every country, basically 195 countries plus, and even some of the ones that you're not supposed to trade in, or at least have connections there, because it's important to be connected everywhere. For instance, for Yemen, Amr Abdul Salam is in this call today, and for Thailand, William Min is in this call. And William, I understand that Sally and I will be meeting with you and talking about our next steps there. Tamer Flores is here for Central Florida, and we're starting a new chapter there with Khalid Munir as the executive director. Khalid, oh my God, what an amazing background this fellow has, and the connections that he has. And Mona is a superstar global advisor for Global Chamber. She's pulling together an advisory board, which hopefully will include I think 5 or 6 people already pulled together for that advisory board. So I'm really excited about Tamer's involvement with that, and also the team growing there and around the world. Sally Alimam is on the team now with Global Chamber. She's come on after she graduated for Thunderbird. She was an intern, and now she's an employee of Global Chamber. So we're really happy to have her on board. So our executive directors and team around the world are getting to know more and more of them. Any final comments? We went a minute over.
I want to, benefit of the minute over. I see Olivier Clement from Arius Group, and
sorry about that.
Olivier, I don't know if you have a second to introduce yourself. I was planning to invite you guys for the March session. They're a global accounting group based in France.
In France, yes.
Yes, but they joined through their affiliate in Chile. So Olivier, if you can just introduce yourself for a second.
Thank you very much, Cesar. And as you can hear, everybody, I am French. I guess the accent is very noticeable. First of all, thank you very much for having us today and letting us presenting ourselves. I would like to stress that everybody who has presented what they do were very interesting, and we really love the tone of the enthusiastic people we can see here. I work for an international accounting company based in France. And generally speaking, accounting companies in France are not very international. So we are like a little bit weird in the French context because we have like presence in Chile, as you said, Cesar, Brazil as well, Colombia. And I am like the leader of the company in Spain, Madrid. We opened the subsidiary of Spain maybe like 4 months ago, something like that. And what we do, generally speaking, is we help French subsidiaries of big groups or like middle big groups to do accounting, tax, and reporting. It's very important because in the countries where we are, in Chile, Colombia, Brazil, and now Spain, generally speaking, is not like the US. Laws are complicated. Brazil, for example, tax very complicated. Colombia as well, quite complicated. So our mission is like to explain and to help like doing the reporting in French for French clients. Could be in English. We have done that in English as well. And we're here to explain and to improve at the end of the day financial figures to be reported. So yeah, I want to be very short because what we do is like quite normal and it's not as fancy as some people do here, but like that's what we do, and we are very glad to be at the Global Chamber. We are very new and excited to be here. Thank you very much for letting me
Thank you.
present myself.
Bienvenue.
Merci, merci, c'est gentil, merci.
Merci. Thank you very much. Thank you. Or anything?
Doug, we want to say here, I can see that hay muchas personas también de origen de América Latina o de España. We can work in French, Spanish, Portuguese, and English. I guess English is not my best. I guess my Spanish is a little bit better because I've been living in Chile like maybe 6 years and now in Spain like for 3 years. But we can work as well in English. So thank you very much. Muchas gracias por dejarme presentarme.
Gracias, Olivier. And now that you mentioned that, and sorry we're going over, but on Tuesday we have our Global Chamber
That's right.
Spain call.
That's right.
I mean Spanish call, and Olivier and Eric are gonna speak in as well there. And anyone interested into the Spanish world, feel free to join us on Tuesday. Thanks, Olivier.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your Friday. In 2 hours, Export League starts with Eugene Son leading through that. And it's actually also spotlighting a new partnership for Global Chamber. It's FITT. And boy, I should remember the name of it, but it's basically the #1 international export training organization in the world. And Global Chamber has signed an agreement with them in collaboration and support. You might see it on LinkedIn today. It happens to coincide with their presentation today at Export League. First session of 4 is getting ready to export. Next time, it's about the financial side of it. The 3rd program is around sales and marketing. And the 4th program is around logistics and everything else. And then, so if you know an exporter, have them attend, even if they're not in Arizona. And if you're interested to learn more and understand more about FIT, please, which is a Canadian organization, by the way, please join us in less than 2 hours. Take care, everybody.